Welcome to Let's Be Love. This is your girl V, and today I'm actually not interviewing anyone. I can't because I can't really get out, and most people can't come to me because of this coronavirus. So I decided to do something unique today. I'm going to share a personal story. Um, Not really excited about this, but I think it's important to share because when we think about relationships and dating, um, sometimes for those of us who are single, we've been through like traumatic and dramatic experiences, which probably contribute to why we're still single. And so I just wanted to share mine. Like, I feel like this story is straight out of Jerry Springer or something. Um, I wish I was making it up, but I actually experienced it. So, yeah, I'm just gonna share. This happened in 2007. I just come out of a 4-year relationship, and I took some time to heal. And then when I felt like I was ready to start meeting people again, I met a female off of a dating site. We first started just conversing as friends, and then I was at work one Friday, and she hit me up and she was like, "What are you doing this weekend?" I was like, "Oddly enough, I don't have any plans." So she said, "Come pick me up and let's go to dinner." So I I drove to see her. She mentioned that she needed to get some tires on her car so she couldn't really drive. So I drove to see her, pick her up, and I was like, "Look, before I get there, let's already know where we're going for dinner, because two women can take 2 days to decide on one restaurant, and nobody got time for that." So I'm like, to a restaurant. We actually had great conversation, really seemed very compatible, surprisingly compatible at dinner. She is Native American Indian, and a lot of times people are like, "Oh, I got some Indian in me," but no, like for real, she grew up on a reservation in Utah. That first 90 days can fool you though, because the person is still in their probationary period, and a lot of times you're still dating the representative. So, first 90 days, amazing. Um, so we'll fast forward to when the drama begins. Uh, it was like the beginning or the middle of our 4th month, and she was at my apartment. And one Saturday morning, again, her phone starts ringing, and it's like ringing back to back to back. So it's like 4 calls, and she doesn't answer. And I noticed that it was the same number calling her, and I'm thinking, this must be important. But I'm not that chick that's gonna check your phone or go through your phone or ask to see your phone. But I do think it's suspicious if the same number calls you 4 times and you cannot answer in front of me. The next morning, her phone rings again with the same number. So now I've seen this number 5 times, and I have memorized this number. So I go in the bathroom with like a notepad, and I write down 3 questions. And I come back and I sit on the bed and I say to her, I'm just gonna call her P. I'm not gonna, say her whole name. And I say to her, I'm like, "P, what's up? Is there something you need to tell me?" She was like, "No, no." I said, "So I can completely trust you. There's nothing you want to share." "No." I said, "Okay. Well, if I can trust you, then I want you to call that number back, and I want you to say something when you call." And she was like, "Why?" I'm like, "Oh, it's no big deal, right? You said you have nothing to hide, so no problem." So, of course, she was hesitating. I was like, "Look, you can either call the number back or I'm done, because I don't even have time to play games." Um, so she called the number. I think she was hoping the person wouldn't answer, but they did. And so I put the notepad in front of her and I pointed to the first question. Now I should mention that P had gone out of town about 3 weekends prior, and I felt in my gut that whatever was going on was connected to that weekend. So 2 of my 3 questions were connected to, they were referencing that particular weekend. Um, and I could have been wrong, but I was like, yeah, I don't think so. This is, if there's something that happened, this will shed light on everything. So I point to the first question, and oh, I also mentioned that when the person answered the phone, they were like, "Hey, babe." So she was nervous. She was like, "Hey." So I point to the first question, and I can't remember what the questions were now, but uh, the first one said something about when I saw you that weekend or something like that, and the person responded saying, "Why are you asking that? Like, the way they were saying it was like, you already know the answer, so why are you asking me that?" Well, she knew, but I didn't know. Well, I knew then. But anyway, so I kept pointing to the notebook, and she asked the second and the third question. And at that point, I was done. Like, I knew what was up. So, and she knew that she was caught. So she rushed to get off the phone, and she told the person, she was like, "I'll talk to you later," and just like rushed off the phone. So I looked at her and I was like, "Yeah, I can't do this with you." And um, I'm like, in my life, I've dated men and women, and it's the same, kind of drama. And not that I've dealt with cheating often, because I really haven't. I've probably only had 2 situations of cheating. So it was P and one other time. And, but anyway, so I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do this with you. Like, I'm thinking it's only 4 months in. I can recover. I'm about to be out. So I went to my doctor's office, and when I left, I drove across the street, and I sat in the parking lot of the bank, and I just like kept thinking. Anyway, I ended up calling the ex-girlfriend because, remember, I had memorized the number. So when I called, I said, "Look, you don't know me. I'm not calling you with any drama at all. I have no malice, no attitude. I just kind of wanted to clear the air about something." And I introduced myself. And then she was like, "So you're the reason why P called?" And I said, "Yeah." And she was like, "I figured that." She said, because she wasn't speaking like she normally talks. And so we began to just have a very civil conversation. She began to ask me questions about like how we met, when we started dating, stuff like that. And then the ex told me, like, when she came to town, she had given P $400 to buy some new tires on her car, because I told you she was riding around on some ball tires. So the ex came up, gave her money, took her to get her clothing laundered, took her grocery shopping. And I knew that she was telling the truth because, like, after that weekend, I remembered, like, that weekend afterwards, P had a lot of groceries in her refrigerator because she told me to come over. She cooked dinner for me. And I'm just like, what? She cooked dinner for me with the groceries that the ex bought her. So, just trifling. But anyway, the ex was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna let her get away with this. So I'm coming to town to confront her face to face." I said, "Okay, well, I'm gonna tell P that I'm going to visit my grandmother this weekend. So you can tell her that you're coming up." And we agree to confront P together. So I tell P, I said, "Look, I might be able to forgive you, but it's gonna take some time. And this weekend, I'm going to see my grandmother. I'll see you when I get back." And so the ex tells P that she's coming to visit, and I call my BFF that I call my sister. I call my BFF, and I'm like, "What you doing tomorrow? Because it's about to go down, and I need your backup." And she was like, "V, what are you doing? Like, this isn't even like you." I was like, "Sis, I know. Just have my back on this." So the next day, it's a Saturday. Now, P thinks I'm out of town visiting my grandmother. The ex gets to her apartment, and she's like texting me to let me know that she's there and everything. The ex tells P that she's gonna take her out for lunch. So P goes to take a shower. She does her hair. So the ex is texting me like I'm in the living room, and meanwhile, I'm driving over to P's apartment. So when I go upstairs, I knock on the door like super hard, and the ex had left the door unlocked for me. So I knocked really hard, and then after about like the third or fourth knock, I turn the knob and I walk in. And P is standing there in a towel. And she's completely wrapped in a towel, hair still wet. She obviously just came out of the bathroom. And she's looking not dumbfounded, just dumb. And I don't want her to know that this was planned. So I'm playing it super cool. I'm like, hey babe, what's up? How are you? And she can't say anything. So then I turn to the ex and I act as if this is the first time we've ever spoken or seen each other or anything. And so I'm like, hi, I'm V. What's your name? Who are you? And so she introduces herself. I'm like, oh, so you're the ex. And she said, yes. So she was like, P, you want to explain this? And so we're both looking at P like, what's up? And P cannot say anything. Like, her mouth is open, but nothing is coming out. So I remember saying something to the ex about her P's cell phone, because I noticed that P and the ex had a cell phone. They both had like Georgia area code. And so I figured the ex was paying her cell phone bill. So P had her cell phone on the kitchen counter. I reached over, I grabbed the cell phone, I handed it to the ex. And I was like, I think this phone actually really belongs to you. You can have that. You can have P. And then P was like, wait. And then the ex said to her, you need to choose. Like, is it me or V? And I'm looking at the ex like, that was not scripted. We didn't plan that part. And so P looks at her and she says, I choose V. And I say, you're stupid. Like, this woman has done so much for you over the 3 years. And we've only been dating for 4 months. I would have chosen her. But you don't get a choice, because I'm not a choice. I'm not an option. I'm out. Like, I was so done. Like, anyway, I say to the ex, I have no issues with you, but I'm out. And we're about to go get something to eat at Applebee's. So the ex says, I'd like to join you. Applebee's is on me. So I'm like, okay. We leave. So it's me, my BFF, and the ex. And we go to Applebee's. So while we're sitting there waiting for our food, the ex goes through P's phone. And she sees like all these text messages. There are pictures of P with like a group of studs where they're smoking and drinking. And some of the text messages were about some pills. Like, I don't know if P was into like, I don't know, buying pills off of people. But it was a lot. And then there was a text from a guy where I guess P owed him some money. It was just deep. But the ex was like, V, you're super cool. I would still like to, hang out with you, be friends with you, date you, something. I'm like, whoa, like, this is really where the plan ends right here. Like, we're not about to date. But I do think you're a great person. And yeah, I'd love to, still be friends with you. And actually we are still friends to this day. So we go our separate ways, and probably about a week later, P calls me from some strange number, and she says, I just called to apologize. You didn't deserve what I took you through. And I'm back home in Utah. I'm in a rehab facility and I'm getting my life together. And maybe, you'll give me a second chance once I prove myself to you. I'm like, what facility are you in? And she said, oh, it's a rehab facility through the church. And I said, what's the name of the program? So she just throws some name out. When I get off the phone with her, I Google the name that she mentioned. It's a program for men. Now, P was not secretly a man, no. But that was just another lie. So 2 days later, she calls me and I'm like, P, that facility is for men. And she says, oh no, it's through the church. When they first started the program, it was just for men, but now they're helping women, blah, blah. I was like, I don't believe anything you're saying. Leave me alone. Stop calling me. So when I get off the phone with her, the next day, her sister calls me. And she's like, if you could just leave my sister alone, we're trying to help her get her life together. I'm like, you tell your sister to stop calling me. I'm not calling her. And she said, well, I do see that, the calls are outgoing, so it does look like she's calling you. She did have a lot of great things to say about you. But, I'm just trying to have her leave that life behind her. And she wasn't just talking about like her sexuality. She was talking about, I guess, all the stuff that P was into at that time. But I was like, well, your sister called me from the rehab facility. And she was like, rehab? She was like, she's not in rehab. We sent her an airline ticket. We flew her back home. We got her into a 1-bedroom apartment. I gave her a cell phone. And she's driving my old car. She's not in rehab. I said, well, that's what she called me and said to me. So again, tell your sister to leave me alone. She was like, okay, I will let her know. And so I got off the phone with her, and fast forward about 3 years later, I'm at work and P calls me. And she said, I just called to apologize. Again, I didn't want it on my conscience, all the stuff that I took you through that you didn't deserve, and the unnecessary lies and all that. You're a good woman, and I just wanted to apologize. So she asked for my forgiveness, and I said, P, I have forgiven you a long time ago, but I did it for myself so that I wouldn't have to carry that weight. So I'm over it. I wish you the best. And we ended it. So then I called her ex and I was like, hey, did P hit you up this week? And she was like, no, I haven't heard from her. And I said, well, she called me, earlier in the week to apologize. And she was like, yeah, she didn't call me. And I'm like, trifling. Dirty dog. Just after 3 years with this woman and the time and energy and money that she invested, like, I don't know the depths of their relationship, but I think she could have at least apologized to her. But sometimes we don't get that kind of closure. Sometimes things just end and you have to find your own healing and peace. But that was one of my experiences. I wish it was just that one isolated incident, but there have been a couple others. Yeah, that you live and you learn. And out of that ordeal, I developed a great friendship with her ex, who is an amazing human being. And she, is always going to be a good platonic friend. So, some good does come out of even the craziest situations. So anyway, I just wanted to share, hopefully entertain you all a little bit today while we are all, almost quarantined with this coronavirus. And so I look forward to some upcoming interviews where I will be interviewing singles who have dating challenges or dramatic and traumatic experiences, um, and also, and more importantly, couples who have been able to establish successful long-term relationships. So yeah, let's all stay healthy and positive during this coronavirus foolishness. And I wish everyone the best. Again, stay safe, healthy, and blessed. Until next time, I will catch you all right here on Let's Be Love. And remember, let's exude and exemplify love. Let's be the love you want to see in this world.